Hi everyone, it's Lynn Dion here from Pink Whisper Designs. Today we're going to make an elegant Easter card. We're going to be doing some stenciling with some stencil paste, and we're going to keep this in a simple black and white design. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start with the largest die here from the Art Impressions Rectangle A2 double stitch dies. And I'm running that through with some black licorice cardstock from the Lawn Fawn collection, and that's a 100-pound cardstock. So now I've got my Wendy Vecchi Make Art station, and since it is metal, it slides around a little bit on my glass media mat, so I'm placing that We Are Memory Keepers silicone mat underneath just to kind of hold it in place. We're going to be doing some stenciling, and here we've got this beautiful stencil from the Skinny Stripes stencils from Lawn Fawn, and you get 2 stencils in this set. And I'll be showing you those up close here in a second. So you get one on an angle stripe and one that goes straight up and down or straight across. So I'm going to grab this angled stencil. And what I want to do, because this is so delicate, these stripes are so narrow, I'm going to grab my Pixie spray. This is a light tack adhesive, and it will help hold our stencil right in place. Now there are some product safety instructions on the back, and I do recommend you read through that. But what I do is make sure I have a nice well ventilated area when I do my spraying. I took mine outside to do that. Once that's dry, it'll be tacky on the back side of the stencil. And you can see here, I'm easily able to press that right into place. And I do want to make sure that I have a nice adhesion. So I'm just running my fingers across the top of that just to make sure that it's all pressed down. So now I've got my Hero Arts Hero Paste. Now this is just a little sample jar that I have here. This is a white stencil paste, and I will list and link all the products I'm using today, but I'll list and link this product, and your jar that you receive would be larger than this and will be properly labeled with the Hero Arts label on it. So I'm going to use my Nuvo media spatula. This is a silicone spatula, so this makes it really easy to spread this. And you do want to spread this on the angle of these stripes. I found it easier just to apply the stencil paste in that same direction that the stencil goes in. And then I can just kind of smooth that out, and I want to get a nice even layer of this across the entire panel here. So I'm going to continue spreading that out, and then any excess you can put right back in your jar. You just want to make sure you seal that up good. And then once you have that done, we can remove that stencil. And once you've removed the stencil, you do want to make sure you clean off your spatula and your stencil really well before you put it away. So I just put it in a little bit of warm water and let that soak, and then I finish cleaning it off after I'm done with the project. And I do the same thing with that spatula as well. Now any excess there you can just kind of scrape away. I'm not too worried about it here because I am going to trim away a little bit of excess on the side. Now I set that aside to dry, and now I'm going to take it to my Tim Holtz paper trimmer. I like to have my panel a little bit larger than I'm going to want it for the finished product, because then I can go ahead and clean up those edges, and it really makes a big difference here. So I highly recommend just cutting your cardstock a little bit larger than you want it to be when you start off with your stenciling. And you can see when I trim away that excess, we're going to get this beautiful striped textural panel, and this is just going to add so much interest and dimension to our card. And this now measures 4 by 5 1/4. So now let's go back to the A2 double stitch dies. These are the rectangle dies, and I'm going to take that second smallest one. And for paper, I'm using the Strathmore Bristol Smooth cardstock again. And I'm going to die cut 6 of these. We're going to stamp on 3 of them, and then we'll have 3 extras for layering. I want to give these a little bit more substance, so we're going to layer 2 together. So I'm running these through the Sizzix Sidekick machine, and again you can see it gives that beautiful stitch border. So I went ahead and ran all 6 of these through the die cutting machine. So let's grab the image that we're using. It's this cute little egg ornament hanging from the ribbon. This is from the Art Impressions Hoppy Easter set. And we're going to go ahead and place one of those panels in the Mini Misty Stamp Positioner. I'm going to just center that little ornament on that card panel. And then I'm using my Versafine Onyx black ink to do my stamping. And I'll be using some clear embossing powder. So although this is a permanent dye ink, we can do some embossing with it as long as we do it fairly quickly. So I'm going to ink this up 2 times just to make sure that ink is nice and wet so that I can do my embossing. So again, you want to take this to your embossing right away. So I'll go right away and sprinkle on some clear embossing powder. And I'm just going to tap away any of the excess there. And then I'll go ahead and do the other 2 the exact same way. Now I'm making sure that my heat tool is heated up really well, and then I'll go right to my cardstock, and you can see how quickly I can emboss this. And you just want to emboss it until it looks nice and shiny. And this just takes a second or 2 here. And by heating up that heat tool before you get started, you can keep the paper from curling a little bit better this way. And by holding it up in the air, that also keeps the paper from curling as well. It allows that heat to go all the way through that cardstock. So now I'm using my Zig Clean Color Real Brush pen, and the only color here I'm using today is the light gray. And that's just to add a few little shadows here. I want to stay in that black and white theme. Now, this is where you could add a nice pop of color if you wanted to. You could add a pretty color to each of those ribbons. But I decided just to stick with the black and white theme. And so I'm just using my blender pen to just blend out that light gray color just a little bit here. And this is some really quick coloring. So if you don't like to color, this is really an easy card to do. Now I've got my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, and I'm going to go ahead and glue these panels together. As I mentioned before, just to kind of thicken these up a little bit, just to give them a little bit more substance. I'll just place an acrylic block on there and let that dry. And I'm going to glue all 3 of these together. So once that's all set, let's grab our glitter gel pen. This is from the Kaisercraft gel pen collection, and I'm grabbing that silver. And again, that has that pretty glitter in it, and I'm just going to color in these little circles with this. And again, this will keep us in the black and white gray theme, but it'll still add some interest to our card. So now you can see that that panel has curled up just a little bit because of that texture paste. Now you could certainly lay something heavy on there for a day or so and it would be fine. But I'm just going to add plenty of adhesive to this and glue it to a second piece of black cardstock. And that'll just help this lay nice and flat. And that panel is the exact same size, so it's 4 by 5 1/4. So now I've got some Kraft-stock from the Holtz Idea-ology collection, and I'm going to grab that silver. I'm going to go ahead and die cut that again from the rectangle A2 double stitch dies. And then I'm also going to grab another piece of black cardstock and go 1 size larger with that rectangle and die cut that as well. So I'm going to run that through. Now with the metallic paper, I like to put a piece of clean scrap paper over the top. It just protects that metallic paper a little bit better. So now I've got both of those panels die cut. So I can go ahead and glue those 2 together. I'm using my Scor-tape. This is the 1/4 inch Scor-tape. And I like to use my bone folder to press out the backing. Just makes it a lot easier to remove that. I'm going to center this on this panel. And now I've got my card, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. And I'm going to score this at 4 1/4. So that'll give us a standard A2 size card, which measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So this this stenciled panel is going to fit right on the front, and that'll leave a nice little white border. So you can see all these layers we have. So again, because we're working in this black and white gray theme, we want to add interest in other ways. So by layering things up and adding more paper, we can give this card a lot of interest without a lot of color. So I'm going to center this on the panel. And I really wish you could see the texture on this stenciled panel up close, because it's just really, really dimensional, and it's really so pretty. So now I'll go ahead and attach all of these layers together. And then for my little ornaments, I'm going to pop these up. I'm using some Scotch foam mounting tape, and I'm going to use enough of it just to make sure that as this goes through the mail, it'll stay up nicely. Now I can remove the backing, and I'm going to go ahead and center this first one. So I'm using the grid lines on my glass media mat there to center that. And then I'm not pressing it down all the way. I'm just lightly placing these down. And then once I'm sure I have them positioned properly, I'll go ahead and press them into place. So I'm just gently placing these down for now. Now you could certainly use a T-ruler here as well to make sure these are nice and straight. I'm just eyeballing it, and I'm making any minor adjustments there, and then I'll press that down permanently. Now I've got these Nuvo Dream Drops, and this is called Cloud 9, and it's this beautiful iridescent, kind of a white, creamy white iridescent Nuvo drop. And it just kind of picks up some different colors. It gives it kind of a luminescent kind of a look. And I'm going to put that right across the band on each of these little eggs. And then I'll put a little dot on the center of each of the bows as well. Now here I had a little excess, so I'm just using my tweezers just to clean that off that embossed area. While it's wet, you can still move it around a little bit, so it's really easy to get rid of any excess. Now you could add more, you could add different colors again here. Now I'm going to my Art Impressions Easter Bunny set, and I'm going to grab the sentiment that says Happy Easter. And you can see all the other cute little images you get on here. So I've opened up my card, I placed it in my MISTI. I went ahead and stamped that 2 times with the Versafine Onyx black ink, just like we did before. I'm putting some clear embossing powder on that, and then I'll go ahead and heat set that. So let's take a closer look at our finished card. And again, I hope you can see that beautiful stenciling we have in the background. And just how simple and elegant this is, just by using just 2 colors. You could use red and white, blue and white, pink and white. So change out those stripes depending on the look that you're going for. So I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a single video. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I hope you all have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.